fucking burrito. He's like, it's all the time. I had to go to LA last week, put her down, and come back.
He does like
Great starts an interview, right? For great clip, like Mr. Motivator. So I'm like, okay, how do we backtrack this? Anyway, Olympia.
Yeah, you know, I tell everyone, if you compete, do it for yourself. I think both KC and I can both attest to the fact that, you know, that's not why,
You know what?
chair. That's not why, you know, we do what we do. Any magazine cover or any competition that I've ever won has paled in comparison to coming to expos, meeting people, do Exposure Nation stuff. And I think that the Olympia, I didn't have, how many people out there have ever done a contest?
Yeah.
So, we only have a couple competitors in here. I actually, for one, really like that. I think that's, to me, that is, you know, be in this industry for the right reasons, for health first and foremost. And I think that after the Olympia, I did, you know, if you've ever done a competition, for those that have had, can attest to that post-contest blues, where you gain, sometimes you have that post-contest rebound, because it's all about the looks. You get on stage and you can never look better, look more shredded than you do on stage. And because that's the case, you kind of develop this post-contest, what do I do now? And a lot of times, it's this euphoric high. If you win, great. Tomorrow you wake up, you still have life. Life goes on. It's not, you know, nothing changed. And actually, what happened in the Olympia, one day I'll write a book about. But no, it was all good. But the next day, actually, I was more motivated and more appreciative for people like you guys for optimal nutrition, because integrity and effort and honesty, you know, I was just blown away by I guess, the fan support and knowing that competing is not indicative of who I am or who optimum nutrition is. And no matter what, there's always health first and foremost, and then support. So that's you know, that's what's great. Now, would I like to win? Hell yeah. But it is what it is.
It is. But I mean, whenever you plan that long, right? So like, you plan that long, you do those stages, you do those NPCs, you do those IFBB shows, and then you become a pro, and then everything sets up to like Olympia, and then
it's like it can definitely become an identity.
The very first time it's ever on the main stage, it's like this huge mecca of a deal. And Mr. Steve Cook, like, you are huge, dude, right? You got a huge following. It's like, I thought you had it wrapped up. I thought you had it wrapped up. Thank you. Honestly, I really did. I thought you had it wrapped up. And then I look, and I'm watching it live online. I don't even watch New York or Ireland or somewhere. And I'm watching it, I'm like, right. And I'm hearing like, no Steve Cook. I'm here, and I'm hearing people boo, like, boo.
It was definitely, it was a first for me. Very humbling, but, you know, I think KC can also, I'm going to hand the mic to him. You can talk about, you've competed before, and, you know, I think he has a good outlook on this. So I'm going to just let you roll on this for a minute.
Yeah, like what Steve was saying, when you do it for yourself, you kind of last longer in the industry. If you set your goals for yourself instead of setting goals for whatever the judge is going to think, you tend to last longer, you tend to be in shape longer. So that's why I stopped competing before he did, like a year or so before he did. In my personal opinion, I told him, he asked me like, hey, should I still compete? I was like, my personal opinion, I think his time would be better spent with this attention to you guys. Because if he competes, then his attention can be kind of divided, in my personal opinion. So
I would agree, because I mean, I'm not to take anything away from people winning shows, but you know, that is not the be-all and end-all of this. Right? I was trying to mention yesterday that we try and build a foundation of how we live and how we look, and people are really concerned about the aesthetic look, and obviously you guys are aesthetically gifted, but they're so concerned about the aesthetic look because that is like good. But they can't even like touch the toe, you know, or like move sideways, or put a seatbelt on because they're like so aesthetically stiff, and you know.
Because exactly what you're saying. You're basically trying to pattern your look after what somebody else thinks you should look like, as opposed to what you should look like. It's more important to fulfill your ideal instead of somebody else. Some stranger is going to see you for 5 minutes on stage, and then you're devoting 12 weeks trying to pattern your look for that 5 minutes or some guy you never met or some girl you never met on stage. So that's why I don't know.
No, that's cool. Yeah. But I also noticed that whenever you were doing your soldier videos, is that people see you on stage, aesthetics, huge. You're like, huge. I don't know what you're rocking, like a 19-inch arm or something.
I haven't measured since last week. So.
But no, but you can still like box jump, you know? You feel like box jump stuff.
So I kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about balance. Now, I think balance to me, you know, has two different meanings. Balance in life and then balance also in your training, in your physique. There's so many people in this industry that lose balance in their life, lose balance in their training. So one thing that I really like what KC does, if you guys have seen Soldier Nation, you'll know that we did a training video where we did delts together. And he really you know, showed me some different moves. And I'm always of the belief that trying new things, keeping balance in your life. Fitness is just one slice of your pie in life. So you have balance in your life, and fitness has to be, you know, it has to be given an allotted amount of time each day. And I'm a big believer, but it's only 2 hours of your day. What do you do the rest of your time? And it has to be, you know, it can't just be all about one thing, all about fitness. And then also balance in your physique. I recently I did a CrossFit video. Awful at some of the CrossFit moves. You know, my snatch, my clean. You guys do any of the Olympic lifts out there? I mean, they're great for functionality, and I think that exactly, and that's what I realized, that after a while, after doing so many bodybuilding workouts, you become very linear. You curl in a single plane. You do things that don't necessarily lend themselves to functionality. And after a while, your body stops having that synergy. When you do something like a clean and press, when you do something like an overhead squat, it's so technical, and your body has to be really in harmony with so many different parts, especially those moving lifts. Now, those are a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more technical, but at the same time, they're really going to lend themselves to overall balance and a physique. And it's you guys, first time in the gym, you have to set the ideal of what you want to be. It's not, I've said this before, it's not your girlfriend, it's not your mom and dad. What do you want to look like? And I'll tell you right now, the fastest way to an imbalanced physique is to only stick with isolation movements all the time, to stick with one way of training. And that's why I'm constantly varying my training, trying new things. We did a back workout yesterday where we pretty much just did different grips of pull-ups, and we're able to hit the back in a different way. You know, sometimes, you know, and that's why I like really training for that Tough Mudder. Did more circuit training, and it's just, you know, it's less about looks and more about functionality. So I don't know if anybody follows in here rugby, but I'm traveling the world. I've seen some phenomenal athletes with phenomenal physiques as well, and that's really more what I'm aspiring to be like. You know, not so much, yes, you look great, but now what can you do with it? Somebody like Sonny Bill Williams, to me, is the perfect example. World-class boxer, world-class rugby player, world-class physique. You can have it all if you train smart, if you train hard, if you go into it with a plan set out that is working on box jumps. Every time you're in the gym, it's setting up a plan that you go into it with working some functional movement each and every time. And that's really what I guess I want to, I guess not be a legacy, but really want to promote. Because there is this whole aesthetic push, which is great. I think it's less about size and more about shape and balance and physique, but also now functionality as well.
Yeah, functionality. Because I mean, we see a lot of guys by the time they're like 35, 36, or even in their 40s. And I know one guy who was, he said, I can't even pick up my kids anymore because I squatted so heavy, my back blew. It's like, dude, you're like 45. You know? And I know that whenever you guys shoot your videos for Team Hockey Nutrition, you really advocate, I don't know if it's called functional fitness, but it's definitely an overall health and wellness kind of thing, right?
It really is.
You're huge about that.
Definitely. Like I just said, you can't have, and eventually it will come back to bite you. In terms of, if you're only in the gym doing bodybuilding lifts, eventually it'll come full circle and you'll start getting those imbalances, not only in appearance, but actually in the biomechanics of the way you do things, and you'll have injuries. So spend the time, you know, dynamic stretching at the beginning of a workout. I just filmed a brand new 12-week trainer for bodybuilding.com that for the first time in bodybuilding.com's history goes back to basics, goes back to somebody who's never stepped foot in the gym. What does it mean to do dynamic stretching? What does it mean to do body weight exercises? Compound versus isolation. What does it mean to, what does protein, carbs, fats do? Like, why are those important? And really, when you get back to basics, it's really easy to open up a magazine, follow some of these bodybuilders' workouts that are absolutely, insane for a beginner to do. So I really like the fact that bodybuilding.com is going back to basics, back to the beginning, and everyone can really learn a lot, I think.
Yeah, Brian Lucas like a visionary. So do you want to open it up? Has anybody any questions? If you want to questions,
you guys can ask questions about
anything,
career stuff. You can ask about